Hi there, good evening. Welcome to State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. I am Francis Abban. It's another Monday night, and of course, when the matters are hot and are in need of analysis, you can trust that all the great interviews and perspectives will be shared with you here on the show. Welcome once again. I'm Francis Abban. Tonight, we are fixing firmly our lenses on developments in the Ejisu by-election. As you may all know, the Member of Parliament until recently, John Ampuntiakuma, we lost him. He's passed on. Now, that has meant that a replacement is required in the House of Parliament. The people of Ejisu require a representative in taking major decisions with more than 6 months to go to the major election in December. That will mean that the people will have to decide who represents them between now and then before the next parliamentary election in December. So tonight, we're going to give you the backstory to the Ejisu constituency. Why it has become almost a hot matter between the party, the MP, which has always held that seat since 96, and a former MP who was holding that ticket, who was moved out in the primaries in the build-up to the 2020 elections, and now is having to contest for that seat, not on his party's ticket, but as an independent candidate. Tonight, we'll bring you the backstory, everything you need to know, and the historical perspectives to why this has become a very interesting contest. They'll also take you to Ejisu to find out what people are talking about, what they're thinking, what's going into their thought process for who they vote for tomorrow in that by-election. Then, are we ready for the election? We'll get a full lowdown as well tonight. All ends up, all angles covered for you for the Ejisu by-election. This is a precursor to our comprehensive coverage of the by-election, which will start early tomorrow morning right here on your election hub on GHOne Television, on all our platforms, EIB platforms across, on radio, on TV, and online. So once again, welcome tonight, where we have a packed show for you. The show is brought to you with the kind of association with MTN. MTN is everywhere you go. Just to remind you that the blue and yellow app is still there for you to download from the Google Play Store or the App Store. It's called MTN Momo. Once you download it, you have the chance to send and receive money, view your statements, pay all your bills with a simple app. Makes life so much easier. You see everything in real time. You having to transact business becomes a lot more fast and convenient. So that's why I recommend for you today, MTN Momo, and their app, which makes life so easy. MTN is everywhere you go. So we begin now with an overview of why this Ejisu by-election has become so crucial. Enoch Edem Kojo, who leads our research desk here with the EIB network, has got a full breakdown for us tonight. Edem, good evening to you.
Good evening, Francis.
So talk to me. Why has this by-election got everyone's attention with all the stakes and the perspectives to consider?
So, Francis, good evening to our listeners. First of all, this is a very interesting constituency, as you rightly said. And as we all already know, in 1992, when the MPP, then in opposition, boycotted the 1992 presidential and parliamentary elections, what basically happened was that they didn't even field a candidate in the Ejisu constituency. However, since 1996 up until today or even tomorrow, that seat in the records of our parliamentary hazards happens to be recorded or be in the records of the NPP or held by the NPP. That is for starters. Now, another reason why this seat has now become very important, and it's unfortunate it happens to be at the demise of one of the industrious parliamentarians who happened to also be the deputy finance minister. That's the late Honorable John Kumar. But this is the thing. Currently in parliament, the NPP now have 136 seats, and the NDC has 137. Remember that the former MP, which is Andrew Siama, is on the records of parliament an independent candidate. So the MPP now has less seats than the NDC. And that is why this seat is very important. But it's important we also look at it from a historical perspective. So we've heard so many names. The names we hear now is Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi. And we've heard John Kumar. And the new name in the cap is Kwabena Boateng, which is representing the MPP. However, there is someone who was MP before all these names came up. And that is one Akwesi Osei Eje, who first entered parliament in 1996. So basically between 1996 and 2008, Akwesi Osei Eje had served as MP for what was then known as the Ejisu constituency. So for 3 terms, he was MP. In 1996, he gathered 76% of the votes. In 2000, it went to 79% of the votes. And in 2004, it came down to 78% in that contest. So that is what is important for us to know over there. Now, there's a very interesting thing that happened in that constituency or two, that's MP in 2008. Now, if you remember, in 2007, when then Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was then an MP for the Buakwa area and also a foreign affairs minister, decided to step down to contest to become president and become flag bearer for the MPP, that created a lacuna in the foreign affairs ministry role. So Akwesi Osei Ejisu was actually elevated and became Ghana's foreign affairs minister around that time. Howbeit, in June 2008, when he tried to contest in the parliamentary primaries, he lost to one man called Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi. At that time, Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi was simply the Ashanti Regional Director of the Ghana Highway Authority. So he came in as a newbie in 2008, whipping no other person than the incumbent Foreign Affairs Minister and MP. Now, in that contest, it was a very small constituency. If you remember, those days, the post or the voter, those who vote were not so many. The election rule was not expanded as we have now. So it was just a few 95. That's for internal primaries. So 95 people, 162 in total voted in that year. 95 voted for Ediomi. That is Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi. And then Osei Ejisu had 67 votes. And then Ediomi became the parliamentary candidate in 2008. So that is how Kwabena Ediomi entered into the elections. Now let's see what happened subsequently. In his first contest, and as I said, it was then known as the Ejisu constituency, he actually gave the NDC a beating. In that contest, he gathered 57,278 of the vote, which was 82.34%. Remember that Akwesi Osei had done 79%, and a new B comes in and is already giving the MPP 82% in that constituency. So he comes back again in April 2011 and says, I want to contest and represent the people of Ejisu once again in the 2012 elections. He goes in, and Akwesi Osei Ejisu, who tries to stage a comeback, loses in that contest. Then in 2012, Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi also goes back into the contest, and once again, even though his results came down marginally, he still did over 80%. That is 80.52%. Then we move to 2016. In 2016, the constituency was split. So Ejisu constituency became the Ejisu constituency and the Dwabin constituencies. Now a new face comes in by the name GHOne Kuma, and that was the first time he reared his head into the politics in Ejisu. However, he lost to Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi in that contest. And so Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi still remained for the third time the parliamentary candidate for the MPP. Once again, he goes and contests in the 2016 elections. I remember this was the elections that made or brought President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So that is what brought the governing New Patriotic Party, of which they've been serving for the past 7.5 years. So in this contest, he performs better than anyone else in the history, getting some 83.8% and giving them one of the highest they've ever had in that constituency. So fast forward to 2020. GHOne Kuma now comes back again. This time, GHOne Kuma was then the CEO of the NEIP, and then GHOne Kuma beats Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi. Now note that the Electoral College had now been expanded to over 600 people from the 195 he came to meet. However, it was still a very close contest. So Ediomi gathered 307 votes and GHOne Kuma gathered 397 votes.
So 90 more.
90 more. However, being able to pull over 300 still showed that at least he had some clout within the ranks and files of the party. So that's what happened. And then GHOne Kuma goes to the poll. He just faces one George Kwame Huze, and then GHOne Kuma also does well. However, GHOne Kuma's 82.83% is actually lower than the 83.8% Ediomi had done 4 years prior. So although the numbers are shot up, GHOne Kuma percentage-wise did not perform as well in terms of share of the vote as his predecessor, Kwabena Osuoduomi. So we'll do something here. We'll study the trends that we have. Now, in 1996, when the MPP started, they just were somewhere around 76% of the votes in Ejisu. By 2016, Kwabena Osuoduomi had taken them up to 83%, and John Kuma brings it down to 82%. So this is a general view of how the MPP has performed, very charitably and so well in there. However, unfortunately, John Kuma loses his life, but Oduomi says, I want to go independent. So that is what has become the big fix here. Because Oduomi is so popular that in the history of the MPP in Ejisu, he has gathered the highest percentage of voter share in that constituency. So who are front runners tomorrow? Let's have a look at that and then we continue. So this is a clear race. About 7 people picked up forms, 6 people are contesting, but from the looks of things, it's a 2-horse race between the 3-term MP, Kwabena Osuoduomi, and the new candidate for the MPP, Kwabena Boateng. I prefer to call it the Battle of the Kwabenas. And interestingly, there are so many similarities among them. So the name, as I've said, Kwabena Osuoduomi, Kwabena Boateng, first of all. Occupation, Kwabena Osuoduomi is a civil engineer by profession, and Kwabena Boateng is a lawyer. Now this is where it gets interesting. They were both born in the month of September from checks. Oduomi is September 17, Boateng is September 23rd. They both attended the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. However, in line with their occupation, you see that Oduomi did a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering in 1985, and Kwabena Boateng did an LLB at the KNUST and went on to do his Bachelor of Law at the Ghana School of Law, completing in or being called to the bar in 2016. Now, when it comes to the career, Oduomi, per his age or how long he has been in there, has done a lot of work. However, majority of his work, in fact, his entire life prior to politics after school, has been in the public service, in the position of or in the company or the institution of the Ghana Highway Authority. So from 1987 up until he resigned to move into parliament in 2008, he was in or with the Ghana Highway Authority. He started as a maintenance engineer in Tamale from 1987 to 1994. He moved on to become projects manager in the Western region from 1994 to 2002. And from 2002 to 2008, when he finally resigned, he was regional director for the Ashanti Regional Ghana Highway Authority. Now, afterwards, he has been a member of parliament for 3 terms. And then in the first term of the president, he actually was a deputy roads minister, which is so much in line with his role. Well, when it comes to Kwabena Boateng, he's not had so much because he left school not so long ago, barely 10 years ago. He's been a private legal practitioner for the most of the time. However, when it comes to his other roles, it's been political. Polling station executive, which he was. And then in 2020, actually, he was elected 2nd vice chair of the Ejisu constituency. He had not completed his 4-year term, and then when the gap came, he put out himself for the bid and then became the candidate or the parliamentary candidate. So that is it for the 2 of them. But then the last thing before I leave, what have the polls been saying? So now we all know Global Info Analytics. They do a lot of work around, and it's a very, very, very tight race. So let me walk you through that. So this is what the poll is saying. Who wins Ejisu by-elections? When the team from Global Info Analytics did their polling, Kwabena Osuoduomi, who happens to be number 4 on the ballot and the independent candidate, is, according to them, is likely to get 47.5%. And then Kwabena Boateng, who is the MPP's candidate, is likely to get 50.6%. However, there is a margin of error of plus or minus 3.42%. Now, let me explain what a margin of error in this sense means. It means that each person or their projected pool could go up by as high as 3.42 or come down by 3.42. In this instance, if the weight of the margin of error lands in the camp of Kwabena Osuoduomi, 3.42 added to his 4.75 takes him up to over 50%, with Kwabena Boateng losing significantly and coming down. If it goes to Kwabena Boateng, he has his way. Even if 1% of the margin of error goes the way of Kwabena Boateng, he already has a good stance of 50.6%, and he just needs to get the wind in his favor a bit, and that is what happens. So, Francis, and to you out there, this is basically a breakdown of the historical trend of the people of Ejisu and what the posters are saying in this keen race among the two.
Thank you, Enoch Adam Kujo, bringing all the perspective to this matter for us on what the stakes are for the Ejisu by-election. On the campaign trail in the build-up, of course, today there's been no active campaigning by way of rallies, but a lot has been said by those in the camps. Let's first look at that of Kwabena Boateng and what the MPP has been saying to voters in Ejisu ahead of tomorrow's elections. Here's what the Vice President flag bearer of the party has been saying.
Inti Otto Abban indi Otto Abban ama NDC any job. Sana esa independent and Omutuma. Omo enfa candidate nechi. No na enyasa. Omo enfa candidate mbo independent nechi.
Well, the president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, also had a few words to say in relation to this contest and why Mr. Kwabena Ediomi is seen as a traitor heading into tomorrow's election.
Senchinyo, and be a winning an album and all ya. Of course, he has a now fire some mother to cancel and that is also so no. And announcing on the acquiring ever Ejisu. If you bring a year if you are very, I think acquiring 1 year. I will have a chance to force it and no MLA. There I want to be regional chairman. There's a make out for me. I said that here. I could be a war Ghana, make and I'm about to be
So that's the president speaking there in relation to what the stakes are. And you may have heard him mention whether Ediomi is now behaving like the butterfly or the umbrella in terms of the votes. In fact, the narrative by way of campaigning for the MP has been that a vote for Kwabena Ediomi is a vote for the NDC. How that pans out tomorrow in the voters' choice will be interesting to watch. Well, the man who's been accused of being a traitor, Kwabena Ediomi, had a few things to tell our man Isaac Bediako in the Ejisu constituency.
So it's going on well. If the numbers that come out to cheer me up is what we will use to judge the results of the elections, then I can tell you emphatically that if these numbers, the numbers that are meeting me, is what we will use to judge the outcome of the elections, then I can tell you that Ediomi will be victorious on Tuesday.
The president says you are a traitor. You have disappointed them. And that all the things that you were able to do, you did it because of them.
It's okay. I don't want to say anything bad against the president. He is the president of Ghana. I'm not a traitor. MPP should rather solve all issues that bothers members of the party. They shouldn't favor some people against some others. If that issue that came, that bogus elections that were held, they said they held at the polling stations. If the president has the MPP party at heart and he has a Ejisu constituency at heart, he will ensure that the grievances that the people brought up to the region that were not solved, to the national that were overlooked, they have solved it. The only person that I've heard that spoke something that will unite the party is the party chairman in Tim. I listened to him on radio. He is the only one who spoke something that can bring back the strength and the fame of MPP. What they are saying is neither here or there. How can I be a traitor? A problem? Why? How can I be a traitor? What is it? When I lost the primaries, did I go independent? I did not. I took it in faith. But when there is an issue that is contrary to the guidelines and regulations of the MPP party, and people raise concerns, if they are good leaders, they should have solved it.
Now they say you are an NDC man.
Oh, so if I'm an NDC man, if the president is saying MDC man, he has to prove I am not an NDC man, because NDC people, they like me. All the works that I did, they are all benefiting. Why have they seen me wearing NDC colors? It's because I said I'm going independent. That's why. The people here who are NDC, they want to vote for Adiomi because Adiomi did projects that benefited them. Now, let me answer what he said I did it for them. Yes. Even when NDC was in power, I worked for my people. There are some 4 roads that I requested for from NDC government that was given me. 4 major roads. I did it in NDC time. So all the projects that I did, I love it and I had it. Having said that, I use my own pocket money. But who is government? Government is all of us. The roads were not done by the president's pocket money. It wasn't by the vice president's pocket money. It wasn't by any of them pocket money. It is the revenue, it is the sources, it's the funds of the state that were used to do it. What is important is that if you are an MP, you lobby for projects for your people. And that is exactly what I did. So if I did it for my people and it was for the party. But let me quickly add, if they are saying that I'm a traitor, even while I'm outside, the projects that I and Kofi Job we are doing, they all favor MPP. Adem is not a traitor. They should learn to be good leaders and solve problems that are in the party so that the party can stand up. I'm telling you, MPP has no spirit in Ejisu constituency.
Looks like he's the man saying he will be the one to bring the spirit back in the MPP in the Ejisu constituency. Let's see what the picture will be. However, as Edeme had mentioned to you, there have been 3 names that have held the seat for Ejisu Jabin into Ejisu. Akwesi Osei-Agyeman, Kwabena Osu-Adiomi, GHOne Ampontiakuma. Now, Akwesi Osei-Agyeman, the former Foreign Affairs Minister, the one who held the seat before Adiomi unseated him, had this to say in terms of what the stakes are like heading into tomorrow's by-election.
The issue is you have to explain to them what is at stake. They know very well that MPP is the strongest party, but because we have somebody contesting that issue, it becomes a bit difficult for them to comprehend. Why is it? But according to electoral systems, if the MPP has a candidate and any person who is not a member of the MPP but he wants to be to be a candidate, he is allowed to do so, unless, of course, he is coming from a different political party. He has chosen to be an independent. So the people are confused. That here we go. And then his message that is going around telling them that, oh, he wants to do this so that MPP will take him serious, so that when he goes there, he'll be able to work with the MPP, and then MPP will get a lot for the constituency, especially roads that he said he has started, but he hasn't started anything. Everything was started by this administration.
So you mean that his propaganda message, as you are saying, has really gone well for him, and that is what you are trying to neutralize now?
No, well, you see, as I said, it depends on how you explain to the people. Because to them, to the people, they were not even sure of the message that is, some people sympathize with him, obviously. But then the issue is, once you say that to people, then the people will just sit down to think. Because they think that, okay, he's also an MPP, so it doesn't make any difference. What the people don't like is voting for the NDC. You know, so if you come and you tell people that, oh look, I'm going for MPP so that you'll be like Formina. They said they cannot work with me, so I want to come. I want to solicit your vote so that if I get to Parliament, I'll still work with the MPP, and then MPP would, you know, the promises that we make, MPP will honor them. This is the situation. But I'm happy to say that we have been able to explain to the people. So far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, MPP will return, definitely. And then once we get it, then that's fine. Yeah.
Right then, so we've given you the historical antecedents to this contest, what the grounds have looked like by way of the campaigning that has gone on, and the messaging. We already have indications that there is some late night campaigning, door to door going on in Ejisu tonight. What the picture will be tomorrow, we'll know. After the break, we'll feel the pulse in Ejisu. What the voters are thinking, what they are looking at in deciding tomorrow who they vote for, the former MP or the new face that has been presented by the MPP. We're back after the break to bring you more. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching State of Affairs here on GHOne Television. I am Francis Abban. Tonight we're looking at the build-up to what's to come tomorrow in the by-election in Ejisu. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Tuesday is for Kwabena, and it's the Battle of the Kwabenas in Ejisu tomorrow. As Kwabena also Dumi, it locks horns, or should I say contest, for the Ejisu seat with Kwabena Boateng. Kwabena Boateng represents the New Patriotic Party. Kwabena also Dumi is the independent candidate who was a 3-time MP on the ticket of the MPP heading into this contest tomorrow. So we've seen the antecedents, we've seen the history, we've seen the political wordings and messaging. What about the people who are voting tomorrow? What are they thinking? What's inspiring their choices of who they will vote for tomorrow? Head of our political desk, Ibrahim Alassan, has been engaging the people of Ejisu. Here's what he's found.
Still coming to you from the Ejisu constituency, where the demise of the late MP for this area, John Kuma, has resulted in the need for his replacement to be found, and that means that there will have to be a by-election. The by-election is slated for tomorrow, but ahead of the process, we're engaging interest groups to find out how prepared they are for the exercise that will see another MP in Parliament representing the constituency. We have come to the commercial drivers here, and we want to engage them to find out how ready they are for tomorrow's exercise. GHOne TV, as a driver, need can transformation. Ediana Koswa, Ediana Koso, a lorry station.
The Koso, dear, but what in a betoba in the man nema I bejawaha kakra. Do here nema. And do here I name a Kosono, and I'm a banner in a beturinti. I'm a high beja kakra. Man for Baha BBC and some. The name I Koso.
Now, passengers in Soha, Juma Koso, say ever to about in an intina, man for a be or more Kumasi or more crying, baby, no more Bama, a Juma Koso, you might say.
Oh, you mean the Tianity? As about the Luca, ye hair and your Tiana too. In the Ibun, a doso. Yeni hone to bin free baby ma nti de tia demand de tia de tia
na sena Jonkuma ena ye memra se bejani ena nyame ntos aton safre no na ohwe omen eye Ejisu ene empotemu ha ene ama muhia ene ne aban ya amamu no ene na wo ka fa
oh the mo ka fa ho ne se aban na nkata no ye Ejisu ade we disappoint ye hu hwewa because kama na ewa uso do me tiso no ana ehu ze mpuntu koso kakra ne na oye kwan oye gotes kakra ma ye but ewa Jonkuma ba ye no ye hu he ai se na oye no individuals ene no de mitimi nyi enyini ene se police fire ene manema sa na oye hu ade but se ade a oye ma ye nyina nipa bebre ne ye hu ato de ye hu no so ye hu no wa intendo de abana ne de disappoint ye
makwan mahu se ye ba ye dwi akwan no so grader esibi so ye adwuma ye gusu kota se ani disem driver ni de nke ye wakwan ma wasenga se wani je
ye kwan no de ebi o ha abato enti na omo ye o bonye mi mfiri bonyure ye de ne o hya ase free Christmas na no ye wura uso dio mi e hya ase na wanya no na e tekoda e ti Christmas na o mo sa be hya ase ene nyese ye beto aba na omugu so omo ye na ba election ma nya na omugu so but o he ba bi ti say efiri Ejisu kosi wonwe eko no ba election ya no mu ahyase omo ye enu je o ya dada me de mi hunu sa me say ba election bia ye kwan ba election bia Ghana ye kwan enti e wo say ko mo hyase ye bo nwe de na me di kan na mo hyase omo ye enti no de edim say bia nya ba election but ba bi o timi say ba election ti na omo ye ade enti na ye say ba election ba sa no ma ye kwan enti ehunu say no de e bia na ya dada no mo de dada ye
na o china mo ko ni sen o to aba no to akwan
aba no de mo de meto ma o so adumi me de o na meto ma no because me hwe enema o buy o here say o ye me mikro mbonyiri o ye dwa kase edwa no ma ye tiase say o de ni bottom scan na esi that time so na ewura GHOne tiase one challenge no enti no chese one challenge chese ampa o de ni bottom scan na esi nso ampa enti me hwe ne o ye ne dia ene ne ma o hye say o ye ona meto ma no because GHOne buy no wa ma ye hwi ekwana na o ye no wa meto aso edwa no wa meto aso eno chese wa anya hwi edimi mu de o so adumi na meto ma no.
So that's a driver here in Ejisu telling me about his disappointment with this administration and the fact that when the former MP hesitated for the late MP GHOne to come in, all his ongoing projects were abandoned. Some roads that were being done had been abandoned. A market construction that was underway in Bonre had been halted. And so to him, he is going to vote for Eduomi again come tomorrow. A driver ni ba konso ha also on crab bonisen yon ponisa
menso crab o kakra nse isi adwoso no eye eso osunye MVP ni osun na odo na osun no we osun ba de atomo osun no se won to am osun ba de a na so koto am aduon ya me ni se we MVP ni wa ba ku ni dia ma half on ye dwa bebrebe ni se sa delegates na masa Abban so mu biem wo ngofo bi ko hye kokoam aduonu pia so ye bi omuso ba omuso ye bi ena aduonu ngofo ye dwa se sa de a ende ye nko roya bi be ko aduonu adidija nti e ba de a ke se nko biem ma oman ye bi atu bi ye mfo bi nko hye ba bi so bi ye delegate ana so bi ye sei sa ande mo ye ne sa de a je e ba sa bre no e bi nsi biem
nka wunya akwan se nka wo to NDC MPP for primaries no mu a nka wo to ma lawyer Boatin meka MPP primaries na omoto ya omudi lawyer Boatin no se nka ebie ma obi atu bia se nka ebie na nka nye lawyer Boatin na nka benya
omu bie mu dia ene obi a eze bia dwosoma se de ebetu yi obi a obabi obato na bafa na wo mu ko hye delegate onyi skaze na me amete ase na mezo metwe meto ase no na wo ma mehwede a se nwun ya se
scan wunya hwe
Mrs. Yadia, Major Gaza by Gakanga 5 CD near Ibide, Zabi, Matuania.
I know, sending this Gabia.
I said the mechanism manager. What does it? No, Tema or more China delegates from Guangodia, Massa Emwa, and he said the moon is Abri, Sana, until Drew on the Mumma or Mino, who be to near MP. Ensure, Rubian was a MP, Yan Yakoto. Na uko yi ni pame nu ko hye kokuo mu se omunko giskaze ne nko tuma ni paso mesia masa yesa ye ne wechenya eyo ene haye
ya 5 city no he se bi be san bobi o ma na se no
media sa adre de enye 5 city na mi ya se be ya o ma na be ye nkoso amaye ni ye die ni nyina ye pe so atiase enti eno no omu jaza ye de a kukuru nja ya keka nso be jai
enti o to ma
media metro ama lawyer because no we am say I said dija and obi ade yesa de nipa na ba na duo ne nka se onye bi waye bi enkura ne ye mo ba ne ye mo so kwan na mo su ni asano so benifo ni wa enkura nso atumi aye na wo penu ngwa ye na wo ni enkura nso be da ye
makwan so ye say na unua na o kasa na o say o masa se o mo ya akwan na kakra na emom the disappointment pa ne say impuntu pa wa jusuma mu ha de na ebi ni ha
over abiaba oye na famude ndimi nga se aduonu oba o me na me che se aduonu oba wa be bi ye nka so onye bi dia na etwa ngondombo wa ye na famude nti ye mama omo so ba no kwan omo so me ye bi so omo so antumi anya se de ye se aduonu nko no se de same thing omo so betumi apam omo nti me de nka kamengwa nka akwan do muguso omo ye ukwa banguru kwan so a uhwe so a de fa ko won so omo ye ukobo nre kwan omoye josu patem baby enu a omoye edu ndi wa baby wa wie ye se ye onkomo bibere bi enkura nso enchu anamo ni bi.
Yeah, so to him, yes, he is going to vote for the NPP's candidate, a lawyer, Boateng, and his reason is simple. The former MP, Eduomi, has done his work. He did well, but it's time for a different person to take over the reins of leadership as far as Member of Parliament in this constituency is concerned. He talks about the fact that of course, there have been some inducements here and there. He got just 5 cedi, but that will not influence how he votes. And nonetheless, he thinks that there's a need for those who say they belong to the NPP to stick with the NPP's candidate. He also relates to the fact that the roads have been done, but of course, that's basically yes. So I have a man here who is also speaking. Yes. I didn't try.
Omuchi chaska sikazam fa hima
Onye bi
me manya bi batuma ho
ba omuma obi abek
tokoro ma ya na no amucho adin na me gina ho ahwe
Onye bi abek
mpa omba bra be me nto ma adwen ha o ma no ho hia me omba to ma adwen ma me mfa nto aba ma o ndi so wo ya obi a odadwen a o ma me sika me pawasam nye sika na ode be ma me na mbetu aba ma o me point no Ejisu kwai we ada ho achakuru na atutwe enyende na anu ya na ya ka wotu sa ba ayiwe ya ansana omudi grade abesi so ha ada ho enyende ya kasi nyina asasai omo be ye kwai we ko dwaben na kwai we asai ko achensa kwai no kwai na adamu ko anita honom no na nya hwe nso mo ba ya mo dwuru so egu so anam so mo mpanyimfo ne faso ne ntino ya nkwala fa hanom no o man fi besi na da se da ho disi acha kurum ha ya no afri menim ne fie memi ho ho re kurum ha dia me frisirem ba hanam atena ho ache timenim dia wom ba mintu abanu ma no etu ama odu emi
is gonna me say no nya sen eno wo anya bi na sense
ikano me mpa me GB oh 100 Ghana 50 cedis ya bi ko aji burusa
so yes, that's the gentleman who had to come in to relate to the fact that
tu abanuma no ko fa de ba no was you tu abanuma odu emi atu ama andisi fo me bo a ye be tu abanu so ama no na andisi fo na afa me katai andisi ta na me 30 cedis 40 cedis home use o enyamono and then me 300 me 300 cedis na me change me car oil me ai oil no me change ne filter baby asi me 60 cedis sisi a me ko change baby asi 3 million one where am I? Oh, there be something there I have made because man you kwanya there say me come again. What do you say? Insurance ne say you got insurance ne and 2 million and the 6.5 adan bani bani ya oh yeah juma now this can nyina ko patrol me yire no ma ombedi there free education amoka no ba wo mi awa free me kuram ne nyina free kuro ba ko na me pena sampa sponsor minister so mu nyina so sponsor so ne mia wa hwemu ayi so abahumi nso sampi nyese ya mpa wo mu ya pa o ma asam but kwan ya omudi afaso no ya mpa because omudi di mia na mo yire fi omuchi.
Well, so that's the gentleman who talks about the fact that he has been a witness to the fact that there have been attempts to influence people with money. He saw money being said, but he said his votes could not be bought, and so he didn't partake in that. His message is a simple one. Things have been difficult. He's a driver. If you look at 7 years ago, how much he was paying for just one home-used lorry tire, if you compare it to this time, it's unbearable. He goes to servicing, changing his engine oil. The amount of money he pays now compared to what he used to pay, unbearable. He talks about how poor the roads in these communities have been, and he comes to the firm conclusion that there is no way he will vote for the NPP's candidate. The only way out is to vote for the former MP, especially when the president yesterday openly said that whoever votes for Eduomi is voting for NDC. For that singular message that the president used, they are going to vote for Eduomi and by extension vote for the NDC as the president mentioned. So we're still coming to you live from Ejisu, and we are engaging other drivers here at the lorry park. So we engage of course, so we are here. And Eja also Unkrobo is saying
Menkrobo nyina say Ejisu by election nyame pa wochina na eba so na me ameka say me NPP ni but ye niema bi din kan ko so a ye kan ho asem a o mo amfa empanimfo na amfa ne no na eha yen mu bi openi ye nyina o man baako anase Ghana baako na nyina ye pe mpuntu o man enti ye hwe se obi obeba bia wodi mpuntu obeba de ama NPP fo bi ebu afuo anti ama dodo na de yen supporters akobo ye friends onabo Eduomi ene say abatu obi koso polling station abatu obi koso entwa yie ema penifo no bi omo a anko yi amo omo sa anko yi mu omo de court baby asese omo de ko bia de ko but up to sabre ya kasa no obi ante ho hwe ewiase so de ye say didija hui ani mu na nenam entina aha bi no me say do na me nka ho de but ha me enu ntino de say ye afa adwene ane say ye hu so MPP for penifo ebi pese omo twa omo boyeyem but no na yem pese be koso say ye pese o man no e koso enye say nipa no NPP ni o NDC ni o fra party ntino wo ye bibi na enye kwa me de me say you know sabre no me hu say atwam enu ntino abusuafo ye de kan say say ya kan o mo anti a ye de ye mu bi de fa ho adwen say o kina nyame pa ne atenkonkon ade a onabo Eduomi ene beto ama no ono so onko do wa bedi bidie nanso ne nyem obeye ye na wogya hokọ ye MPP for papa no ye MPP ni enti nkamu ba ye no ye hwe se nkamu beye ato aso but omo eja ato ho no nti ye pese ye de ye so omra no mawie o meto aso enti ye de ye ya no papa no nya se sika bi nti no ono oba ono wo sika mfanye hwe papa yi bedi be se 12 ayi nyina no wa sifie ni fia wo si ansa no be no ano ho enti no ye momu de ne nsem a wo kan ato yakoma so enti no ye de nyame pa na de pa bi chi echi na papa na ne beto ama no
esika na echi no wanya bia na
sika de he
senra moba ha no mche 100 cedis ene ne kanka wo wanya bi
opani sika no de me nyi ni se sika no mo che no ye party bi eti na da so ye Ghana fo ye sika enti e de me de bia de odeba bia me no me wo hankwa de a maji bi o man bia maji ye nya ye sika but e drew GHOne mo a ye nim ne beto ama no.
So he relates to the fact that the era of blind allegiance of political party colors is over, and that there are a number of things that had happened in the NPP, especially during an internal election where some executives who lost out were aggrieved. They took the case to the law court. As we speak, there's no answer whatsoever as to the fate of the aggrieved who went to the law court. That has put some pain within the heart of many NPP supporters. He, as one of them, was not an affected party. As a member of the NPP, was not an affected party. But because of the injustice done his colleagues, he feels that this is the time to abandon blind allegiance to political party colors. So come tomorrow, he's going to vote for the former MP, now independent candidate. I asked him about the monetary inducement. He says that money didn't come with political coloration. Whenever he sees anybody sharing money, he'll go for it because he knows that it's the money for the country. But that will not influence who he votes for. And so he's voting for Eduomi to come and continue the project that he has started, which were abandoned by his successor, the late John Kuma. And so we're still coming to you live from Ejisu constituency, gauging the mood ahead of tomorrow and engaging drivers, because drivers are the voices of the constituents. They carry them every now and then in their vehicles. They engage them in conversations. They are able to understand their mindset.
Ibrahim Alassan, head of our political desk, giving us the insights from the drivers in the Ejisu constituency on who they will vote for and why. Very interesting thoughts there, and how the votes and the minds are shaping up for tomorrow's elections. We'll go for a break now. When we return, we'll find out from the Electoral Commission, how prepared are they for tomorrow's by-election. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching State of Affairs live here on GHOne Television. I am Francis Abban. Tonight we brought you a 360 analysis of what's heading into tomorrow's by-election in the Ejisu constituency for that by-election. Already there have been accusations being leveled by one of the candidates, Kwabena Osuodiomi, against the Electoral Commission. What's the allegation? He's alleging that the EC is setting up a system to rig tomorrow's by-election. Well, the EC has come out strong to clarify that that is not the case, and that they are set for the over 100,000 persons who would turn out tomorrow to vote in this by-election. Edward Jemfi is the Municipal Electoral Officer speaking to us.
I'm anticipating a very high turnout. Looking at the enthusiasm of the people, the contesting candidates, crisscrossing the length and breadth of the constituency, we anticipate a high turnout. As for possibility, I can't tell, because the individual candidates will speak for themselves. But for the records, nobody has withdrawn. We are doing our work. We are operating within the constraints, the limits of the law. And so far as we are concerned, there is nothing, no attempt from us to rig any election. Competition, when competition is keenly contested, you hear all sort of accusations and counter accusations. But to us, we want to stay focused and then operate within our mandate and deliver fair, transparent election to the people of Ejisu, to Ghana, and the entire group. So there's nothing different from the way we've been voting. It starts at 7, ends at 5, counting begins, and then when it's done, results and other materials are evacuated to the collation center. Collation starts, and when we are done with the collation, the results is declared. So it is the normal procedure that we follow. Nothing has changed.
Now, finally, security. I know that doesn't lie within your purview, but it helps you in delivering your work. I've seen some accoutrements stationed at the police headquarters. How important is security for you tomorrow and your officers?
For security, it's important for all of us. If we are secured, we can operate without fear, without favor, and we can all execute our mandate. So the security, if it is beef up, is reassuring and it's good for all of us.
Your final words to Ghanaians and for constituents of Ejisu watching you?
All that I want to tell the people of Ejisu is to come out in their numbers to vote. And then at the end of the day, their choice will be protected and it will be made manifest. Whatever will happen, at the end of the day, the peace of Ejisu is paramount. We should all be law-abiding, cooperate with the security and all stakeholders so that we will have a very smooth and very peaceful election.
For the sake of our viewers, just introduce yourself again.
I'm Edward Jemfi.
So that's the Electoral Commission assuring us that all is set for tomorrow's by-election. We brought you everything you need to know in the build-up to tomorrow's by-election. We are hoping for a very peaceful process tomorrow as the 100,000 voters in Ejisu decide on who represents them between now and the expiration of the session of Ghana's Parliament, and then heading into the next one, heading to 2025. The show is brought to you with a kind of association with MTN. MTN is everywhere you go. MTN Momo is that blue and yellow icon, that app that you need today to make your life a lot more easy. Download it now from the Google Play Store or the App Store. Download it, be able to send or receive money, make payments, also view your statements, pay all your bills, make life a lot easy for you today with MTN Momo. MTN Momo is here for you. MTN is everywhere you go. Thanks to the entire team for making this show possible. To my director, Mr. Sapong, Enoch Edem Kojo, Ibrahim Alassan, who's the head of our political desk, to the cameraman here, Samoa, as well as the head of lights and sound as well, Francis. Thank you so much. And thanks to you for watching tonight. Good night.